Hello and welcome to Cozy News Corner, where we talk about open source news. And today we're going to start with some short, quick news about vulnerabilities. And we have JQ, which is this kind of library for running through JSON and query it. And it has a denial of service. So look into that. And next up we have Firefox ESR, which has an important arbitrary code execution vulnerability. So of course those kind of things we need to update. But other than that, there is a bunch of different operating system and different packages that you should upgrade, of course, but none of them really stuck out as something more important to me this week. So now we're going to talk about the Debian leader. So this project has had the same team lead for about 2 years, or at least two terms. So the Debian project secretary, Kurt Roex, has announced a new Debian Project Lead, and the election results was the winner of Suruchi Shatan, and she will replace the 2-term Debian Project Lead of Andreas Tiller. So that's interesting. We're going to have a new leader, and for hopefully pretty much the same direction, but it's good that somebody that have worked for a while can step down and somebody else can take over, and we might get some good news, some new changes. Next up we have Mozilla 1.50 is available to download now, and there is a bunch of new things in this release. So first off, we have support for the new GTK emoji picker. We have support for more functionality when it comes to PDF rendering and so on. So you can directly in the application move, copy and delete pages. So you have more flexibility on how you can work with PDFs in Firefox. And we have small improvements to dev tools. There were a couple of these kind of tags that you could set on different elements and so on. Nothing big, but it's always good when they're working on dev tools as well. And this also includes fixes for 271 vulnerabilities from the Claude Methus preview. So this Claude Methus is this project where Claude said we have a model that is too strong for anyone to use, so we will use it internally and share the results with the world, because we can't really trust anyone to use it except for those that pay us really big bucks. So of course they have helped some of the open source community, so Firefox got the benefit here. And then we have Shivan Kabul Shabib, and not good at names. The VP of Privacy and Security at Brave has put out a blog post about something that didn't make it into the Firefox 1.49 release notes at all, but they have added uBlock-Rust as the improvement to Firefox. And that is the Brave's open source Rust-based ad tracker and blocking engine. So that's available in Firefox now, and you can enable it by going to the configuration settings and use the label privacy.tracking-protection.content.protection.enable and set that to true. But then you don't have any list, so you need also a list. So the same path, content protection .test list URLs. There you can put in an easy list privacy or something like that, a couple of different lists. So if you go to the show notes and go to the write-up by the different community blog posts here, you should be able to find those commands and put them in if you want to try this in Firefox. Next up we have GNU coreutils 9.11 delivers enhanced performance for multi-byte character support. And one thing that they really have added is the zero copy IO has been improved. So on Linux, when it comes to cat and yes and similar commands, they are using this zero copy technique, which delivers up to 15x performance gains and the efficiency of data pipelining and streaming generation. So that is really cool that some of the commands in Linux will be very fast, much faster on larger files. And they also added ARM Neon optimization on ARM-based hardware. So the VC, which is word count, or it pretty much counts the lines in a file, that command is now 4.5x faster on system supporting Neon instructions. And then we have faster shuffling. The shuff command utility operates now 2 times faster using an unlocked SDO, reducing overhead on high-speed data randomization. And the date format now supports dot-delimited dates. So for those people that don't use the standardized format for dates, this is another way to write it. I think I've seen these kind of dot for date formats in Norway or somewhere. So yeah, in the Nordic regions I have come across these kind of dates. And next up we have Git 2.54 released for the new Git history command. And this Git history command is designed to simplify the rewriting task. So if you need to reword or split different operations in your Git history, this history command can help you there. They have also fixed or added to the Git backfill command, now accept revisions, ranges, and pathspec arguments, enabling users to fetch missing blobs from specific history segments or parts of the tree that they rather be retrieving, rather than retrieving all the data from head. So a lot of different tweaks to handle your Git history better. Next up, we have Ubuntu, and this is we're going to talk about both news here. So it's two kind of news. But first off, the release of the long-term support Resolute Raccoon is now ready for the month of April. And what is new? Yeah, the Ubuntu desktop now only runs on Wayland. So I'm a little bit scared now that my version that was 2404 long-term support now going to go to 2604, and I'm not going to use X anymore. So what will break? Probably a lot. Then the GNOME release in this version has much better grouped notifications. It has HDR support for capable displays, better accessibility, lower CPU and memory use when it comes to core components, smoother rendering and on slower systems, improved support for remote desktops, and touch input and multi-zone calendar use. So the GNOME release here has a bunch of improvements in the new version. And we also have better power optimization, installer accessibility fixes for screen reader users, and the NTSync driver for Windows games is have better performance under Wine and Proton. So perhaps gaming will be much better in this new long-term supported release. And they have also decided on the name for the next release that will come in October 15th or so. It's called Stoking Stingray. And they had some notes on what probably will be in there, but I think it's more interesting to talk about that in October. Next up, we have the Linux maker. In this case, it's System76 that has been talking to Colorado, and they might leave some open source alone. So Carl Richel, the founder of System76, has shared that Colorado's age attestation bill is set to be amended to exclude open source software from its requirements. So the proposed amendment would exclude open source operating systems and apps, code repositories like GitHub, GitLab, and containers like Docker and Podman. So that could be a really good amendment. Because it will not really fill in a good function anyway, if it's so easily manipulated. And next up we have some sad news for Bitwarden. And it was a very short-lived problem here, a compromise in the CLI package. So the security team has identified and contained a malicious package distributed via npm for Bitwarden CLI 2604 between 5:57 and 7:30 p.m. ET on April 27, 2026. The incident was reported as a part of a broader checkmarks support chain campaign that was targeting software publishing workflows. But they have this quote to say: the investigation has found no evidence that end-user vaults data was accessed or at risk, or the production data or production systems were compromised. Once the issue was detected, compromised access was revoked, and the malicious npm releases was deprecated, and remediation steps were initiated immediately. So having a less than 2-hour window where you could get maliciously packed Bitwarden is a very small window, and they have taken actions. So I would say that this gives me even more trust in that they will do the right thing if a problem occurs. And that was the last news for today. I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that you learned something today. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave those in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues, and I really want to see you in the next video.